Unanswered Questions About 9/11, a 90-minute program originally broadcast on Japan's TV Asahi Network on September 11th, 2004.
3年前の今日、悲劇は起こった。多くの人が夢見た。
The 21st century, filled to the brim with hopes that many dreamt about. Who would have thought that it would begin with such tragedy? In the middle of a city, the most flourishing in the world, 3 years ago today, tragedy struck.
あっという間にこの世から姿を消してしまった。
Massive buildings of 110 floors that rose to the sky like a symbol disappeared suddenly from the face of the earth. Everyone looked up in shock at the sky over New York City. The eerie, dark cloud that rose skyward seemed to be an omen that a century of warfare was about to begin. The destruction of the World Trade Center and the attack on the Pentagon. These tragedies took the precious lives of 3,000 people.
They were acts of war.
America immediately began fighting back. Upon deciding that the culprits were Al-Qaeda, they attacked Afghanistan, where Al-Qaeda headquarters were located. Also, they moved into Iraq, giving the reason that it had weapons of mass destruction.
Human history given birth by evil designs and failures. Truth betrays common sense. It should not be like this. How did 9/11 happen?
Let's look at the movements of the day. 4 planes were hijacked. The first plane, American Airlines Flight 11, left Boston Airport at 7:59 a.m. It crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center 47 minutes later. The next flight, United Airlines 175, changed its course to New York and crashed into the South Tower. The third plane, American Airlines 77, changed its course as well to head south, and after low-level flying, crashed into the Pentagon. Finally, United Airlines Flight 93 is headed for Washington, but began rapid descent and crashed into rural Pennsylvania. All 4 planes moving at once would look like this. These are the 9/11 multiple terrorist incidents.
Emotional telephone calls were fabrications. This is terrible.
Allegedly, passengers made phone calls from the hijacked planes to the ground, saying goodbyes to their families and informing them about the details of the hijackers. Immediately after the incidents, these conversations were spread throughout the world, and people shed emotional tears over them. But now, 3 years after the incidents, suspicions are being aroused that these phone calls were lies. What exactly is happening? These emotional phone calls had been fabricated. On September 11th at 8:42 a.m., United Airlines Flight 93 left Newark Airport. It was proceeding on its journey at 35,000 feet. But 46 minutes after takeoff, Flight 93 was hijacked by the culprits who were on board.
93便は乗り込んでいた犯人たちによってハイジャックされる。
Tom Barnett, also on board, made his first call to his wife.
妻のディーナに最初に電話をかけた。
Dina, we've been hijacked. A passenger has been killed. Call someone, get some help. I have to get off the line now.
On the ground, news of the World Trade Center tragedy had been aired repeatedly around the world. The wife told Tom about it. America is being attacked. Maybe your plane will share the same fate. Tom informed the other passengers.
I'm gonna give it a shot. Listen, I'm gonna leave the phone right here.
On hearing this, Jeremy Glick phoned his wife Liz at home.
We're definitely going to die, but we won't let the hijackers get their way.
Tom also phoned his wife again.
We'll all die if we do nothing. There's nothing left but to act.
Several minutes after this, at 10:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 93 crashed into rural Pennsylvania. It was announced that this was the result of the passengers having fought the hijackers. The American government praised the brave actions of the passengers and officially commended them as heroes.
We have seen it in the courage of passengers who rushed terrorists to save others on the ground. Passengers like an exceptional man named Todd Beamer. And would you please help me welcome his wife, Lisa Beamer, here tonight.
Bush emphasized the cowardice of terrorist action at every opportunity. What about the reactions of the Americans?
They were very brave. I often fly because of my job. When something like that happens, would I have the courage to do the same? It is difficult to say.
It's very sad, but I think they were incredible. To think that they all got together and managed to do that? It's amazing. Because brave passengers phoned from the plane, Americans firmly believed the information that the hijackers were from the Middle East and that they had fatally stabbed a crew member. However, now, 3 years after the incidents, a rumor is quietly going around. It asks whether it is possible for a cell phone to establish connection from a plane. It wonders whether those emotional phone calls were fabricated. There are two ways to make phone calls from a plane. One is to use phones attached to the seats. The second method is with cellular phones. The origin of this rumor lies with the collect call CNN commentator Barbara Olson made to her husband. Ted Olson, her husband, is a high-ranking employee with the Department of Justice. The husband's evidence sounded unnatural.
She used the phone attached to the seat. It was a collect call.
A collect call is where the person being called pays. It takes time and energy to establish whether the person being called would agree to pay. Would she make a collect call when it's an emergency hijacking situation? Also, these phones take credit cards, so there was no need to make a collect call. Such an unnatural statement from a high-ranking official. He stopped talking about the matter since then.